Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box. Welcome to the Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast. You are now listening to the Hot Take Hot Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shoulder Strikes MMA Podcast, brought to you by the Hot Take Hot Box. My name is Matt McSweeney. We are here to talk about UFC 294. We have picks, bets, predictions, thoughts, comments, concerns on the entire event from end to beginning. Honestly, I was going to say beginning to end, but we actually start at the end, and we work our way up to the beginning. I am joined by Ty Capone. Ty, how is it down there in St. Pete's today? Is it a beautiful, gorgeous day in South Florida?
It is, and we are not in South Florida, so watch your mouth. But no, it's pretty good. It was really nice last night. This is the weather I've been wanting. You know, mid to low 80s, hover around the 80 to high 70s, and then maybe late at night dipping in the 60s. I can't complain. Well, I can complain, but I'm not going to.
You could always complain. I mean, that's
always.
We have quite an event. We were supposed to have Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev, the rematch. We're getting another rematch, Ty. We are getting Islam Makhachev, Alexander Volkanovski rematch from, I believe, when was that, December?
Let's see. February.
February. Okay, it seemed like it was a long. I knew it was cold out when it happened.
February's been a while. All right, it was right around the time of the Super Bowl, which I do not wish.
That's true.
Remember.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the Super Bowl the next day, so that's kind of where
something like that. Yeah,
I think so. But either way, I know some people out there like, I don't really care. I understand. Listen, this fight was made on about 11 to 12 days' notice. Charles Oliveira had to pull out with, I believe, like an eye that looked like it got hit with an axe. It's mainly because those shooter box guys have no idea how to actually train normally for a fight. They just fight for 7 weeks, 8 weeks before the fight to get themselves prepared for the other fight that they're supposed to be in. So nothing new here, but what are the odds here, you ask? Yeah, I will tell you. We have plus 215, 200, 220 for Alexander Volkanovski to Islam Makhachev's minus 250, 265. Now, the first fight was close. I think it was pretty close, right? I mean, I
don't think it was as close as some people were saying. There's a lot of fighters. There's a lot of people in the MMA space that I think are just big Volk guys or Aussie guys that thought he won and was robbed. I thought he lost 4 rounds to 1, honestly. I think the best round of his was the 5th and maybe the 3rd too. But other than that, it was very close, but I just thought Islam was better. Honestly, it seemed like his striking was better than I thought, and Volk's ground game, his wrestling, was better than I thought. But I still think Islam had the edge pretty much everywhere, very slightly. I know he got rocked a couple times, hit a couple times, but he also was hitting Volk. There was a lot of times Volk, kept nodding his head like, "Yeah, you hit me, you got me." And then when he knocked him down, it was a lot more clean. I think the one time he tripped over his own foot and fell, and the whole crowd went, insane. It's crazy, they were in Australia, right? They were in Volk's backyard or New Zealand, and now they're in Islam's, not his backyard, but he's got the home field advantage here for sure. So, that one was in Perth. So, a big difference there. The crowd's not going to, be on Volk's side this time. There was just a lot of moments where, the crowd was going crazy, absolutely crazy anytime he did anything. And I don't know if that swayed the judges' opinions. Obviously, he didn't get a card in his favor, right? So, I think this one's going to be close, but I do worry about the late notice. Volkanovski only having however many days. I'm sure he was in good in shape and fighting shape and whatnot. Was in a camp and whatnot, but I don't know. I just think it's a tall task. Also, though, with Islam, I think if his cardio, because he cuts a lot of weight, if his cardio isn't on point, I think he might be in trouble, honestly. So it's going to be interesting to see, where these guys are or where they were before the fight came together. I mean, Islam had a fight booked, and Volk's, still talking about, I can fight in January too, no matter what happens in this fight. So that kind of gives me a little pause. I think I lean Islam no matter what. I think it probably goes a distance, and I think he wins 4, maybe 5 rounds again. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I think Volk's getting older. He's got other things to worry about. I don't know. I don't know where either of these men currently stand. And they're both so good, both so great, honestly. Both big for their weight classes, both good just everywhere, honestly. Both good hammers, both good nails. Craig Jones has been working with Volk to get his jiu-jitsu to another level. I think it's been working. Honestly, he did some things in that Islam fight that were different. It should be an interesting one. I can't wait for this, and I think Islam gets it done. I think there's a chance he gets to finish, but I don't think Volk's even capable of being finished at this point. I have to see before I believe it.
Yeah. So one thing I did want to point out is that the odds are about 100 off of what they were. So it was about plus 270, 300 the last time, and now it's around plus 200 for this fight, which is interesting. I mean, I think a lot of people, that fight last February was a lot closer, like we said, like them people thought it was going to be. It not necessarily meant that I never thought Volkanovski won the fight, but I did think that he comported himself well and was like, wow, like I really didn't think. I don't know what I thought, but like I didn't think Volk would get ran over. But I think the main thing, like you said, was I'm so impressed by how well he did in the wrestling department. Like Islam, after he clipped Oliveira in that first fight and kind of just rocked his world, I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to, deny this man's, striking abilities anymore. He throws straight shots. He's a big, powerful guy, and it does nothing for us to kind of, poo-poo the guy or try to diminish his skills. So I've moved past that, but I got to say I would feel much better about this fight, or maybe taking a shot on a Volkanovski bet if this fight was, on actual notice and he got a full 12-week training camp and all that. And, there's like we discussed this in the previous episodes, just, even the last episode when this fight got made. There's a reason he didn't take this fight initially, I imagine he was the first one that was offered this. They were going back to Abu Dhabi. They probably wanted a big-time fight to, headline this event. And he said no because he got hand surgery. He was dealing with, an injury, and he wasn't going to be ready until, later on in the winter, maybe December, maybe January, and he wound up agreeing to a fight in January. So I just wonder why he didn't take this fight, and really what is going to be different, or what kind of shape is he going to be? And there's a lot of question marks on the Volkanovski side of the wager, I would say, that really gives me pause for concern, and that I don't feel confident wagering anything on that side. So we're going to move to the Makhachev side, and like you said, I really don't see how he finishes him. I mean, even no matter what, Alex Volkanovski is still Volkanovski. I mean, he's even finished once in his career, and that was, has he ever been finished? Yeah, he was KO'd. I mean, years and years and years ago. I'm pretty sure it was, head kick and punches by a gentleman named Corey Nelson in 2013. I was still in high school when this man was, that's the last time he got finished. So for me to sit here and look at you guys and say, yeah, I think this is the time that he gets finished, I don't know. I could be wrong. We could both be wrong and be like, wow, like, shit happens all the time for the first time where you're shocked. But Makhachev at plus 180 for decision seems like a really good bet, man. And I would love to be on the wrong side and hope Volkanovski pulls the ultimate upset and finishes him. And I'll gladly donate that money to a local sports book to kind of, just to see that happen. But I got to say, I'm going Makhachev decision plus 180.
I like it. I feel like that's probably the smart play. I'm going to stay away from that, though. I don't know why. I just think the short notice kind of gives me pause. It's in Abu Dhabi. I don't know why that would give me pause, but it does. I don't know. I think I'm just going to sit back. I don't do well with main events, is I think my issue. Corey Nelson also has a win. I'm sorry. Yeah, does he have a win? Let's see. Hold on. a loss over Robert Whittaker. So,
there you go. Well, that's kind of a wild jump up in weight there for Mr. Nelson.
Big difference.
He's
there,
a big guy. Holy shit.
Yeah, I guess I see why he beat or how he beat Mr. Volk. Islam
The main event was Dan Hooker versus Rusty McBride. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. By the way, that fight that Volkanovski got knocked out at was at 170.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
So there you go.
I guess there's a tournament, it looked like.
Yeah.
Jake Matthews was in that. Jake Matthews advanced and Volkanovski did not. So they should put those two in the cage together, see what happens.
Yeah.
Some of those Australian cards back in the day were probably wild. Like,
I mean, there's a bunch of talent on some of these things where you're like, wow.
Australian FC5. Like, geez. I think that's probably the safe pick, but yeah, I'm going to stay away. I don't blame you. That's my prediction. That's my pick is Islam by decision, but I think I could see him getting a sub or getting a knockout. Honestly, he's very powerful. He's a good finisher, and Volk's getting up there in age, man. So it hasn't happened yet, but he is 35, and eventually that's going to go. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I can see him being competitive also.
Yeah, like you said though, like it's one of them things I have to see it first before I start. I know. You hardcore gamblers out there are like, well, that's not how it goes. You gotta see things that aren't gonna happen. Like, whatever, go blow yourself. There's no world where I see Volkanovski getting finished. Although I know it could happen. I'm just saying, like, my visual, I can't comprehend it after seeing him get out of those Ortega submissions and take shots in all of these different fights. And he took a pretty good shot in the last Makhachev fight where he just bounced back from it. Volkanovski is right there for the pound-for-pound list. I mean, I believe it. So is Islam. So it's like these guys are the very, very best that this sport has to offer. So I until I see one of them melt the other guy, I'm not going to really, I think this is going to be a close fight again. I can't see, but I can't see it going any other way, really. But, yeah, so we got Kamaru Usman. And here's another fight where we had a late change. Shuffling of the deck. Kamaru Usman steps in for Paulo Costa at 185. Kamaru Usman, I'm sure maybe he's fought at 185 at some point, but not in recent memory. I mean, he has long been a 170, was the king of 170 for many years. He's hopping up to 185, as is Chimaev, who has fought a few times at 85, but it seems like the new home is at 185 pounds, and Ty, this is about as good of a replacement fight as you can possibly get. This is better. Very rarely do you get a better fight than the original one that was, supposed to be made. And Paulo Costa looks like his elbow was going to have to get amputated. That thing looked disgusting. He had
that was bad.
All sorts of infections and a bursitis sac, and there was all sorts of shit going on with that elbow. He was not. I knew once he posted the picture of him getting the elbow surgery, I'm like, okay, so we're gonna have to look for
not happening.
We're gonna have to look for a new guy. It's typical in the Brazilian fight community to kind of, not really be smart about these whole pullouts and letting the UFC know. Yeah, just always getting hurt somehow. But I mean, this seemed like a freak incident, so I'm not going to fault him too much. Chimaev is the favorite here, Ty, and I think rightfully so. We would both agree. Minus 325, 350. To Usman's plus 260, 275. The last time we saw Kamaru Usman out there, he did not look that good. I mean, he was fighting for the championship against Leon Edwards, but he looked slow. He looked old. He just did not look like that Kamaru Usman that had, existed previously. But I got to say, I mean, I would like to say the last three times, but even in the first, or I guess the second technically, Leon Edwards fight, he looked good, but he wasn't as dominant as he usually is. He kind of was just emasculating Leon. It was just like, he even got taken down in that fight, which was, I think he kind of got just caught off guard there. But even that last Colby fight, he did not look great in that fight. He was kind of getting backed up, and Colby started to come on towards the end of that fight. It was much closer than, if you look at unanimous decision, you would think that he just absolutely cooked him. I think it was a closer fight, especially than the maybe the first one or some of the other title defenses, I would say, that Kamaru Usman had. But I don't know, man. I gotta say, this is a tough one to bet because you just don't know what version of Chimaev is going to show up or how dominant is he going to look against a fighter like Kamaru, he did not look that great in that Gilbert Burns fight, in comparison to the rest of his performances. And Kamaru Usman is still, a wrestling god. I don't know, Ty. I guess I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah. The second fight with Leon, where he got, I think Leon upped his strike total by almost triple. And I think that's definitely telling. He's 36, and he's an old 36, man. He's been in the UFC a little bit since 2015, which, seems crazy, honestly. And he's had a bunch of surgeries, a bunch of injuries. And,
well-documented knee problems.
Yeah, which apparently,
yeah,
what he said to Justin Gaethje on the mat wasn't what, I don't know. Who knows? But either way, I think he's just in for it. I think he's fighting a younger, hungrier, just war machine, basically. I mean, Chimaev is he's just different. He's just a different kind of fighter that we've never seen. I mean, absorbing one strike in your first 4 fights in the UFC, no matter who you're fighting is just insane. Absurd. Especially one of the fights went to the second round, and he's still one significant strike John Phillips landed. The Burns fight was, not the best showing, but I think he had a long time off, and he had a lot going on, and I think he might be in a place now where he's he's got the title shot on deck. The winner gets a title shot. I think Usman might, I don't say Usman's not hungry, because I think he's definitely eager to get another belt at another division, and he would be fighting a guy he's already beat in Sean Strickland. So, big stakes for whoever wins this. I think it's Chimaev's time. Pretty much simple as that. I think he is the more explosive guy. I think he hits harder. If it maybe not that much harder, but much quicker, bigger, better athlete. I don't know if he's the better technical wrestler, but I think he's more dangerous on the ground and in the clinch. So I think he's got him covered everywhere. I mean, cardio, maybe Usman has the better cardio, but this is a 3-round fight, so I don't think that'll really matter. If they go balls to the wall. Whatever. Chimaev did that with Burns. I know Burns is a former 155er, and this is at 185 now. But I don't know if Usman's really if he has what it takes to be in a firefight. So I don't know if a war would necessarily benefit him. I think I think he's gonna have to obviously take Chimaev down. Lay on him, get top control, do some damage, and kind of just do that. Honestly, to get a win. It is interesting. Chimaev has left Sweden. Was it All-Star Gen Stars, whatever it was called, TriStar. So he's not over there anymore. So I think that's pretty good for him. I don't really think he was, with the best camp or in the best area in general. It's good that he's home now, and I think we're going to see the best version of him in this fight. Big step up in competition, but I think he's ready for it. I think he's going to get. I don't really know. I think he's going to get a knockout. I think he's going to hurt him with the hands, and then maybe get some ground and pound. But I think he's going to finish Kamaru Usman.
Yeah. So inside the distance is the favorite here. Pretty much, it's minus money. So which is very interesting, I think. And Usman inside the distance is plus 475. Usman decision is plus 550. So they really obviously don't think that Kamaru Usman's going to get this done. And again, I think this is another case where I would feel better about this fight if it was a 12-week, where we had the notice to kind of figure out what was going to happen here. Chimaev is the bigger in stature guy, I would say. Usman's a fit, a jacked physical guy, but it's just Chimaev just seems like the larger human. So I don't know. I don't like it being only 3 rounds for what I'm about to bet, but I gotta say, from what I've seen from Usman in recent years, and honestly throughout his whole career, the man does not like to get hit, and when he gets hit, he does not react well. And I think jumping up to 85 and getting hit by the shit that he's going to get hit by on Saturday is going to give a bad reaction, and I think at some point Usman's going to look for a way out, and I think Chimaev's going to give it to him. So I'm going to go Chimaev TKO plus 225 is what I'm seeing here on the website. And, there's my bet.
Chimaev has a great, quick, straight right It's what he used to knock out Gerald Meerschaert really quickly. And again, I know GM3 is a lot different than this fella, but also right uppercut way back in the day, quick. He unleashed on Ikram Aliskerov to knock him out cold.
Yeah.
So he has that one-hitter quitter, that one-shot power, and he's quick hand. So I think Usman's going to have to just fight behind the jab. Honestly, that's huge. Maybe throw some leg kicks. Fight behind the jab and timely wrestling, I think, is his path to victory. But what did you bet? What did you?
Chimaev TKO.
Man, if he gets a sub, that would suck, right?
Yeah, the thing is, the inside. I mean, I could definitely see him subbing him. Obviously, it's not like Chimaev's ground game is like that bad, but it's like, I don't know. I just have a feeling that the wrestling, he's going to be able to hold him in a position. I don't know. I really just don't think there's going to be a lot of wrestling in this fight. That's really my thinking, because I don't think Usman's going to want to waste the energy to try and take him down, because Usman wasn't really trying to take down Leon Edwards, so I can't imagine he's going to sit here and try to take down, Khamzat Chimaev at 15 pounds up on short notice. I have a feeling that Chimaev is going to kind of. Probably try to treat it the same way. He may try and take him down, but even if he does take him down, I think he's going to be ground and pound, and I think Usman's going to be able to defend the submission well enough. But who knows, right? I mean,
it looks like he submits guys that aren't really ground guys. John Phillips, Kevin Holland, who can do work on the ground, but obviously he's had his struggles. Liang, when he fought GM3, he knocked him out quick. Gilbert Burns, he was standing and trading with him the whole time. That was a war. Ikram Aliskerov knocked him out. So yeah, I think I'm going to ride with you and take that TKO. I like that.
Wow, it's good to see the boys are back on the right side here. We faded each other a lot last week.
Yeah, we did.
It was tough for the people out there. There's people crying and saying, calling me and saying, no, that you guys can't do this to me. And I'm like, hey man, listen, we will get back on the right side one day, and this is that day, ladies and gentlemen. Chimaev TKO. Reuniting the mega powers, but we gotta keep this moving. Magomed Ankalaev, Johnny Walker, a patron saint of the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast. I mean, again, we have to bring this up every time this man fights. We've done videos on an unreleased episode. I have a whole 30-minute diatribe of us watching Johnny Walker getting TKO'd and knocked out, and doing the worm and fight, getting knocked out and resurrecting himself. So I will always bring that up. It's one of my favorite non-released episodes that we've ever had.
Pretty crazy.
We're already moved on. Ankalaev is, here it is, minus 375, 350. Big time favorite over Johnny Walker, which is understandable. But I guess I'll ask you, Ty, what do you think? What do you like here? Is there anything that you can see that you would jump on to bet? Because I don't know if I really like anything when I was looking at it earlier.
I'd be interested to see what this line is, and it's probably not going to... Yeah, I'm going to go Ankalaev TKO plus 125.
Wow.
He only has one sub, I think, on his record, right? Yeah. Who the fuck was it? I don't think it was in the UFC. Yeah, it wasn't. Or was it? I can't tell. I can't see. No, it was not in the UFC. So... yeah, he has some decisions. Also, I think that last draw was an absolute abomination of a decision. But if it went 3 rounds, I think he might have lost that fight. Funny enough, he was getting his legs chopped up, and Johnny Walker throws some pretty good kicks, pretty powerful too. So I guess that's something to watch out for if you're Ankalaev. But either way, I think he was robbed of that Blachowicz win. And sometimes Ankalaev, the problem with him, I feel like he fights down to his level of competition sometimes. Yes. Not all the time, but. The Paul Craig fight, he was winning that fight comfortably and insta-tapped. The Klitz and Abreu fight way back in the day was not great. What else? I'm trying to think. The Krylov fight. He dominated Volkan like he should have. Thiago Santos, whatever, dominated Anthony Smith. But then even, the Blachowicz fight, he didn't get to the hottest start. So that's an issue sometimes. I feel like he just sits back and just chills sometimes, if that makes sense. I don't know if you remember when he fought Dalcha, Lugiambula, and he kind of got wobbled a little bit in that fight. So maybe he's a bit chinny. Maybe he can be hit, I guess is the problem. Or maybe if you really press him, if you take it to him, maybe you can make him wilt. Maybe. This is a bunch of maybes.
Yeah.
The problem the reason I bring all of that up and say maybe 300 times is Johnny Walker is just a different kind of fighter. He brings so much explosiveness explosiveness. It's not like Mike Tyson. Explosiveness and athleticism. 16. I mean, all but 2 of his wins are by finish. He got a nice win over Anthony Smith in his last fight. You know, it went the distance, but a huge step up in competition. And he looked good, honestly. Finished Paul Craig quick after Paul Craig was on a heater, right? Getting knocked out the way he got knocked out against Jamal Hill and bouncing back from that. Remember, he could have been on a fight, you know, if that Ryan Spann fight went differently, he probably wouldn't have got the Thiago Santos or Jamal Hill fight. But in theory, or hypothetically, he could be on a 5-fight losing streak in that stretch. But he's bounced back very well, honestly. You know, he got off that crazy start when he first came into the UFC. I think 3 1 minute knockouts, two in the first 40 seconds and 1 in 2 minutes. And then he kind of just chilled out. You know, I think he came back to earth a little bit. So I guess he's still, you know, he's 31. This probably should be his prime, or at least, you know, part of it. I don't love that he's training with the New York Times bestseller, John Kavanaugh. But you know, it is what it is, I guess. Maybe some people do better with other trainers. You know, maybe that's the guy he needs to get him right. Who knows? I have no fucking clue. Who am I to say that? You know, obviously John Kavanaugh isn't some fucking idiot.
Come on.
So I mean, he's been with Conor since day one, and look where Conor.
No way you introduced him as New York Times bestseller.
He wrote a book. I don't know.
He did. You're not wrong.
But I mean, maybe it works for Johnny. I have no idea. So I think this could be this is the biggest fight of Johnny Walker's career. We'll see if he's here to show up. But I just think his defensive, his tall man defense and his ability to just do the chicken dance whenever, you know, on command, pretty much, really gives me issue. And Ankalaev hits hard, man. He's got good head kicks, good straight left. So I'm going to take Ankalaev TKO. I could see a kind of a decision like a Russian coast, but I think it's going to kind of get a little hectic in there. Johnny Walker's going to do the worm or jump off something, and Ankalaev is going to have something for him. So
I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm not going to take anything on this card, or on the card, but I will say I'm going to bet Johnny Walker in my personal life. So take that for what it's worth. I see a 7-inch reach advantage, and I see a big athleticism advantage on the Johnny Walker side. I think that this line is a little too spread out here. I think plus 270, 280 is too much for what Ankalaev has shown me in his recent, affairs out here. I mean, he finished Anthony Smith and Johnny Walker didn't, but also just that Jan Blachowicz fight was, even though it was a 5-rounder, so it's a whole different mentality, but just like not being able to finish Volkan Ozdemir, and I don't know, like you said though, it's kind of a situation where Ankalaev just coasts sometimes, and I don't know, what version of him is going to show up. Is he going to try and take Johnny Walker down and get caught in that position where Walker just starts landing elbows down on his fucking temple? The
Ryan Spann position, I call it.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't know, so I don't trust anything, so I'm not going to take anything here on this fight, but I sure do want to bet Johnny Walker.
Oh, okay. Those are words you don't hear often. So, also, Thiago Santos did drop Ankalaev, so just something to, he can be hit, and this is light heavyweight, man. Anything can happen, honestly, especially with Johnny Walker. And like you said, he's 6'6", I think 80-something inch reach, and just has insane power and
such a wild card. That's the thing. That's like the hard thing to bet against Johnny Walker. Is because, I mean, I have bet against him plenty of time and gotten cooked on it because you just don't know. Sometimes he shows up and he throws a flying knee and knocks the guy out cold. You're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, and then he starts doing the worm and blows his shoulder out, and you're like, what is going on, man? Like, you just never know. You truly never know. So
sometimes you see him out on Vegas walking down the strip in his UFC fight attire. Who knows?
Yeah, and sometimes he just moves to Ireland to take on a new life in Ireland. But
new book.
Shout out to New York Times bestseller John Kavanaugh. What's his book called? I don't even know. Well, I was going to give it a free promo real quick, but
The Size of Conor McGregor's Penis, a book by John
Kavanaugh. Come on.
I don't know. It was a guess. I don't know.
Ikram Aliskerov, Warley Alves. This is also another late replacement fight. We were supposed to get Imavov, I believe, right? Nasruddin. But Nasruddin pulled out. Do you know why?
Russian sniper.
I do not know why.
The French sniper.
Yeah,
Some kind of sniper. I don't know. Let's look.
Imavov really disappointed me in that Strickland fight, but I guess, what are you going to do? Strickland's a
Strickland
champion.
went on to beat Izzy. So
Yeah,
I
so
guess,
exactly.
what do
That's
we
why,
know?
this shit is fluid, guys. You never know from time to time what's going to happen. But Alex
It
Garov,
appears he could not secure a visa.
oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I always wondered why that's such a prevalent issue, but I guess with international laws and rules and fighting, and I don't know.
You would
I've
think
always
the
been
UFC would
confused.
be able to clean that up, but
I know, you'd think, but I guess this goes above their heads.
some things are bigger than sports.
Yep.
Shout out.
Just like this pod.
Yeah, minus 650 for Alex Garov, Ty, to Warley Alves is plus 475, 455. Now, I know you said you were going to have a mega whale play on Warley Alves before the pod. I know you weren't going to tell anyone, but no, but in all seriousness, we don't know much about Mr. Alex Garov other than the one loss that he has on his record is getting flatlined by Khamzat Chimaev. And Warley is, it just seems like a physical freak. But I guess, coming off of a loss to Nicholas Dalby and, getting finished by Jeremiah Wells does not bode well for a fight against a Russian savage. So, Ty, is there anything here to bet? I guess we should look at what Alex Garov is, TKO and submission. Excuse me, my voice is really just absolutely fading here. But Alex Garov is plus 150 via TKO and submission is plus 180. So it's kind of going to be one of them situations where you got to pick a side and kind of pray because inside the distance is minus 250. I don't know if some of you people like to lay the wood on some of these lines. I don't. I like to pick some
fat wood.
Lay that big old piece of wood on there. But no, I guess I'll ask you what you like here. Do not lay your big piece of wood on anything here, please.
Well, I might not. I think if you wanted to take a shot down the field on this fight, I would take Warley Alves by sub. I think that would be an interesting play. I think he has a nasty, nasty guillotine. Remember he tapped Colby Covington out with a guillotine. So the problem with Warley Alves, he's kind of like what I like to call, a flake. Basically, he's very talented. And he's 8-6 in the UFC. He's been around for a while. He's in Jungle Fight. He has a fuck ton of experience. He fought. I think he was supposed to fight Elijah Zaleski back in the day. He fought Mike Jackson, not that Mike Jackson, but the other Mike Jackson, the problem Mike Jackson. And yeah, he has a couple of guillotines, but since he's gotten the UFC, it's been a little different. I don't know. He submitted Colby, and he absolutely shut down the Munir Lazzez hype train quick. I remember I had Munir Lazzez, and he was coming off of a big win, and he was coming off a big loss against Randy Brown. But he also lost to Brian Barberena easily. He also lost to Nicholas Dalby, like you talked about. I know it was a split, but I think he lost that one. Jeremiah Wells put him out easy. James Krause knocked him out. So that kind of worries me. I like his leg kicks. I like his clinch knees. I think he's powerful in general. He hits hard. But he's a bit chinny, and his cardio isn't great. So, but all my thoughts just collapsed right there. Sorry.
Tough. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. I think 185 might be better for him, but we've never seen him up here. So, it's going to be hard to tell. Fuck, man. I really want to bet on him, but he is so hard to pinpoint as a fighter. He's had so many ups and downs, and I really want to fade Alex Garov, and this could be the spot. I don't know if he'll get subbed. He has a couple subs of his own. It'd be interesting to see if he has a guillotine. He does have a guillotine of his own, so that might negate the advantage that Alves has. So I'm going to pick Alex Garov to win. I think he could finish him. I think he can wear Alves down. I don't know if Alves loves being the nail, if you will. And I would see what's the size advantage. Yeah, 4-inch reach advantage, 1-inch height advantage for Alex Garov. We'll see. I think the fade's coming soon, but he should be able to get by. But I would not be surprised if Warley Alves pulled a rabbit out of his hat, honestly.
I gotta say, intriguing bet here is decision is plus 475. So it's very intriguing. But like you said, I think this is more a concern is that Warley might just look for a way out at a certain point during this fight because I think things may become hectic or become overwhelming, or he might get overwhelmed at some point during this fight. And I'm going to go out on the limb, and I have decided that with Worley having, pretty good jiu-jitsu, I'm going to count on the TKO, the ground and pound TKO happening, and I'm going to get that plus 150 TKO here for Alaskarov.
All right. I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't love it though. I'm gonna be honest, but I don't hate it. So we got Said Nurmagomedov and Muin Gafurov. He's getting in there. We got, is this Said? Did I say Said? Yeah, it's Said Nurmagomedov. Yeah. He is a minus 225 favorite to Gafurov's plus 185 underdog. Ty, I guess. I ask you, Said's coming off of a tough loss to Jonathan Martinez. That was kind of a feather in the cap for Jonathan Martinez.
Good fight, though.
It really was a good fight. And Gafurov is coming off of a loss to John Castaneda. So that is not necessarily a good look when you're going in to fight a Nurmagomedov. So both these guys need a win. It's at 135, and I kind of lean Nurmagomedov just based off of his, what I've seen from his skill set. But I don't like either one of these guys, to be honest.
Yeah, I like Said, but he's a bit I don't know. He likes to just kind of relax sometimes. He's lost three times, and they've all been unanimous decisions. But they've all been pretty good fighters. I mean, Ioni Barcelos, Jonathan Martinez, and Magomed Bibulatov, who is he still in? Yeah, he's still in Russia. He was in the UFC. I think he fought Bontarine to a split, but he missed weight and then he got cut after he also got knocked out by John Moraga. But he was pretty good. He beat who did he beat? Charles Henrique by split. Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of that guy, Charles Blackout Henrique. So he's doing his thing over in Russia, and he's not bad. So I don't. The problem, though, with Said, I feel like he gets a little too lackadaisical. I feel like he kind of won't really have a game plan in some fights. Sometimes he'll bring his wrestle heavy approach. Sometimes he won't. The Martinez fight was very close, very close. I'd have to go back and rewatch. Honestly, I think he won the first and then lost the second and third, if I remember correctly. Held the leg kicks in that fight. Yeah, I mean, Martinez didn't land as many leg kicks as he does against most people, right? And Said went to the body a lot. He's just got good spinny kicks, all good chokes. Like he has a couple guillotines. I think he has what's the one? A ninja choke. I think he has a ninja choke somewhere. It's just good front chokes in general. Long, because he has those long arms. Circles around on the outside. I don't think his gas tank is great, but I feel like that's because he has that explosive striking. So, yeah, I think he has the size advantage here, speed advantage. I mean, Muin Gafurov lost the fight to Chad and Helliger, easily. So, he needs a win here, but this is a very tough get-back fight for him. So, I think he's pretty much cooked. My bet here is going to be over 2.5 at minus 115. Neither fighter has ever been finished.
I like that.
And I think Said has more decisions than finishes. Am I wrong? Or at least it's close, right? He has 8-5. Yeah. So he has 9 finishes, 8 decision wins. I'm fine with that. I think it goes the distance. He wins a kickboxing battle on the outside. Maybe they engage in grappling a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. I could see that. And I think Said wins it, has the advantage there too. So I'm going to take Said by decision. I kind of want to bet Said by decision, but...
Why don't you join me, sir? Because that's what I have. Plus 230. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll do it.
Let's
you
go.
You convinced me. I don't think the guy who lost a decision to Chad and Helliger will be able to get a decision off of Said. The only problem is maybe Said finds some spinny shit and knocks him out. That could happen, but
absolutely.
But
then your over would be cooked anyway. So that's the way I look at it.
So whatever. Well, I'll go with the better odds, and it's something I think is going to happen. So yeah, I'm riding with you. Let's do it.
Let's go, baby. It's good to see the mega powers getting back together in form here for UFC 294, which will be in the morning. So I hope you all are locked in on a morning card here on the East Coast. And the West Coast, forget about it. I mean, you people out there are going to be struggling. What do we have? So that is, I believe that's the main card, right? That's then now we are moving on to this is a friend of the podcast, somebody that we support, Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott, ladies and gentlemen, Muhammad Makhachev, somebody we don't exactly support. Mr. Makhachev threatening people with guns on Twitter, during fight promotion, and posting pictures of chocolate and saying, "You send this to me, to try to get me to miss weight." And Tim Elliott's like, "They sent it to all the fighters' rooms, you fucking moron." And I'm like, "Oh boy, all right." So, Tim Elliott definitely not in the mood. Shout out to Mr. Soto this weekend. He's going to support him via, He's
got revenge on his mind, baby.
Via
Kevin Kroom, your days are numbered.
Yeah, via long-distance support. He is there in spirit. But Makhachev is a minus 400 favorite. Minus 440. It's kind of all over the place. To Tim Elliott's plus 330, 300. Obviously Makhachev should be the favorite here, but I don't trust either one of these guys, and I don't know. Tim Elliott is tough to finish, man. From what I've seen, he kind of just zombies his way through some of these fights, and he got arm triangle. He's been finished. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it's like not as easy as you would think. But some of these fights that people should have finished him, they really struggled and were not able to. He's coming off a win against Victor Altamirano. I know that's really a feather in the cap, but Makhachev, the last time we saw him, I think he. Okay, no, it was a rear naked choke.
When he almost got his knee.
Was that fight? Okay.
Yeah, Jafel Filo.
Yeah, that's right, man. He was his knee was in bad shape. That was 6-7 months ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah, February, March.
March, yeah, it was the Usman Edwards fight card. March 8th.
Hopefully his knee's fine.
Yeah, I sure hope so. But let's I guess I ask you, Ty, do you like anything here? I don't know if I like anything necessarily. Makhachev inside the distance is plus 150, so maybe that's something that can be bet. But I imagine it would be a submission for Makhachev. It seems like he hunts the submissions.
Yeah, and that's my play here. I think I like Tim Elliott. I just think he's getting old. I think he's very balls to the wall. Which is fun, is cool, is good, but it drains your cardio. And when he was doing really well against Brandon Royval, it kind of turned very quickly, and he got arm triangled very quickly. He was doing well until he wasn't. He has been subbed by Royval and Figgy, two just studs, but he also lost to Askar Askarov, who kind of I don't know what the fuck ever happened to that guy, honestly. He lost to Kai Kara France and was just done from the sport, I think. So. Benavidez also guillotined him. Has he been guillotined multiple times? It looks like he has. Yeah, he just gets careless in there. And, he's obviously got revenge on his mind. Maybe that plays a factor. Maybe he's thinking about some other shit. Because I think that fight, the Kevin Kroom fight, is later Saturday night, and he fights early on Saturday. So, who knows? Who knows if that plays a factor? He has upset a prospect before, Tajir Ulanbekov. Remember, he wasn't supposed to get that win. I think he was, let's see what he was.
Yeah, plus
200.
Yeah, he put it on him, too.
Yeah. Your boy, Ryan Benoit, remember you said he was going to win the belt. Tim Elliott beat him. But no. But the thing with Makhachev is I feel like he's very good at battling through adversity. Remember, Malcolm Gordon took his back. Jafel Filo almost ripped his knee off of his body. And he didn't even flinch when he was in that knee bar. That was the craziest thing. I know he's only 23. He's still got a lot to learn and a long ways to go. But he also he has the record, I think, right? Most takedowns in a flyweight fight ever against Charles Johnson, who Cody Durden got the second most takedowns in flyweight history, also against Charles Johnson, which is kind of funny. So he's very young, very raw, but extremely tough, extremely good hammer, good nail. I think he can. I'm not worried about him blowing out his knee or getting hit hard and that being it for him. I think he can battle back through anything. And I think, whatever Tim Elliott has for him, which could be a lot of veteran tricks and whatnot, I don't think it's going to matter, honestly. I think Makhachev is going to sub him. I think he's going to find his back or find a choke of some sort. And I think that's going to be it. So I'm taking Makhachev by a sub.
I am going to take that as well. I just, like you said, I've seen Mr. Elliott get way too lax and careless in there and offer his neck or offer, some sort of choke or arm bar, anything. Like he just, like you said, like he has good cardio, but also he kind of gasses himself out by just doing the dumb shit walking forward and eating shots. I think this fight mainly is going to take place on the ground, and I think Makhachev has a really good ground game, and Elliott doesn't have he has a good defensive ground game in some aspects, but like you said, he's gonna offer something here, and I think Makhachev's gonna jump right on it and get him out of there. So we have sub at plus 220, which I think is a really good number to get in on that. But we keep it moving, ladies and gentlemen. We got Muhammad Yahya, not to be confused with Ronnie Yahya or Yaha, whichever one. But he's fighting Trevor Peek. Trevor Peek making the trip to Abu Dhabi, which is absolutely insane to see. I would love to see what that guy looks like in Abu Dhabi. Just
I hope he doesn't get any headwear.
Yeah,
imagine him wearing.
He's just going to say some of the most racist shit ever over there. But I hope nothing bad happens to Trevor while he's over.
Let's keep him away from the mic.
Yeah, in the Middle East. Yeah, for sure.
He's not from Arkansas, but he is from Alabama.
He is from Alabama, so I mean, they're really they like to populate the same kind of place. So.
Hey, apparently Russians do too.
That is true. So, what do we know about Muhammad Yahya? Not much. Not much, ladies and gentlemen. I believe he's making his UFC debut here. His last fight was in UAE Warriors in February against a guy who was 5-3. So,
and he got dropped.
Yeah. So listen, we're getting back on the train here, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get it done here. Trevor Peek TKO.
Wow. All right, I'm going to go under 1.5 at minus 130. I think both of them come to bang. Both of them are trying to, get in and get out. I mean, Trevor Peek, he's like an elite brawler, kind of like a young version of Matt Brown. Definitely not as technical, but, Matt Brown would just come forward and hulkingly try to just kill you and just walk through you and, disperse of you quickly. I think this is also like a step down in competition because he fought a pretty good fighter in Chepe Mariscal. I know his record, and I guess I was somebody who was kind of counting him out, but he's won 5 in a row since he lost to Sean Soriano in CFFC and Steve Garcia and Joe Anderson Brito. So he lost 3 out of 4 in that stretch, but he also beat Yusuf Zalal, beat Pat Sabatini in the regional scene. He had a 5-round fight with Carl Deaton, who just got cut. He went the distance in a loss against Bryce Mitchell. He fought Frank Buenafuente, who I believe, who did that fella fight? Blake Builder in his CFFC fight, and Julio Arce twice. He lost to Gregor Gillespie, got knocked out. Chepe did. So I mean, his resume is full of guys that you've heard of. It's kind of crazy, honestly. Even I think this fella, right? Didn't this guy fight in? Maybe not. So I think Trevor Peek has some solid experience going the distance with in a fight where he was losing, and it just things weren't going his way at all in that Chepe fight. And I don't know really what we got with either of these guys. All in all, Trevor Peek still landed a decent amount of strikes for somebody that's pretty much a 1 or 2 round fighter. The Malik Lewis fight wasn't great, but he turned the tables quickly. Smoked Eric Gonzalez, obviously. Who doesn't do that? I just don't have a play on either side. I'm not confident. I just think it's not going to go far at all. I mean, under a half a round is plus 350. I could even see that, but I'm going to go under 1.5 minus 130. I think they're going to stand and bang until one of them falls.
Yeah, this is not going to be a real technical battle. No matter what, Trevor Peek does not fight technical battles. So I'm going to assume, like you said, they're going to go in there. 2 bulls are going to run in, bang into each other, and someone's going to fall, and that's it. So I'm going to go Trevor Peek, and I'm on the Trevor Peek side, so TKO plus 110, and then we keep it moving. One of the Basharat brothers. This is a family that you've gone to birthday parties and things of that nature with. Javid Basharat fighting Victor Henry. Victor Henry, it seems like he's been all over the world. We have faded him. We've bet with him. He's cooked us on both sides, but he's making his, 4th walk in the UFC. He's got, all decisions. He's fighting Basharat, who, if I remember, I mean, it's hard to keep the Basharat brothers, square.
Yeah, I think Fareed just fought, but Javid, I should say, fought earlier this year.
Javid is a decision merchant, it seems, especially since he's joined the UFC. He has really kind of just coasted his way to decisions.
Solid fighters.
They're good fighters. Yeah, nothing against them. It's just kind of – it's crazy because before he made the UFC, he finished everybody. And now he's
Right.
in the UFC, and his only 3 decisions are in the UFC, which is pretty wild. But, I mean, it's jumping up a level in competition, so it just goes to show you.
Yeah, he fought some guy on the Contender Series. I remember he had like an undefeated record, the guy from Israel. He was a complete stiff can.
Yeah.
A can stiff is what he was. And he misweighed that guy. So I like Basharat. I like Farid better. But I think Javid is just all around is like good at everything, kind of. You know what I mean? Maybe he's not great at anything, but I think he's really good. I think he's good offensive and defensive wrestling, grappling. I don't love his hands, but I do love some of the kicks he has. I just think he has all the advantages physically, maybe mentally. I think, he's going to wake up for this fight. I don't know if Victor Henry is, man. How many fights does Victor Henry have?
30.
Crazy. He's never been finished, which is also insane. And he's fought literally all over the world, man. Like, I think he was in
Russia, all over.
A bunch of tournaments. Anderson Dos Santos fought that fella, who I think wasn't he on the Contender Series this year? No, okay, different Anderson Dos Santos. Fought Kyler Phillips. What was this? In the middle of Burbank, California. Luis Smolka was also on that card, and Edmund Shabazian's little brother, Leon. Victor Henry has crazy volume, which is something you love about him. That Ione Barcelos fight was crazy. He landed like 50 strikes per round and threw 352. Now, when he fought a Sunsao, it was a little bit different, but Rafael Sunsao, fun fact, has never had an opponent land 100 plus significant strikes on him. Never, ever. And this is going back to like 2008. So that's a bit different. Of a fight. I think he can compete in this fight. I think he can be competitive in all different aspects, on the feet, on the ground. But I think I just think he's overmatched here. I think Tony Gravely took him down a couple times. I know he had a couple sub attempts. Victor Henry did, but I think if he fights like that, if he fights a little careless like he did against some of these guys, like he will against Javid, I think he's probably going to lose. But I think this could be competitive. I'm going to stay away. I don't really have a feel on this fight, but I think Javid wins a decision again.
Yep.
And like 30-27, maybe he loses the first round or something. I don't know, honestly, but I'll be very interested to see how this fight goes.
So Javid, like I said, his 3 fights in the UFC have all been decisions. Victor Henry, his 6 losses in his career have all been decisions as well. So he has never been finished. And he doesn't, he wins decisions, but he also loses them. And that's what I'm going to count on. I'm going to go Basharat decision, minus 140. Kind of laying a little bit more than I'm comfortable with usually, but I think this is a good bet. This is what I like it pretty much all the way up till minus 200, honestly. And then I would even parlay it with something because it's just, I do think the way Basharat fights, this is going to be a tough fight for him because this guy has a lot of experience. And I think this is, like you said, going to be, 29, 28, 30, 27 sort of fight, kind of a closer one than you're comfortable with. Basharat kind of fights in those thin margins anyway, but I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm excited about it. Cedriques Dumas versus Abu Zaitar, who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, apparently. We have not been able to confirm that, but Cedriques is coming off of a good win against Cody Brundage, where Cody Brundage completely quit. Yeah, I mean, it's a win. I'm not going to hold it against him all that much. And Captain Morocco, Abu Zaitar, is 30. I almost said 30 or 97, but he's actually only 37 years old. He hasn't fought.
He's 97 years old. Older than Pat Miletich.
Well, no one's older than Pat Miletich in the fight game, it seems. 21 years old. I got to get myself back locked in.
How old is he?
Yeah, he's 37. But he hasn't fought since 2021 when he got finished by Marc-Andre Barriault at the very end of the fight. So
yeah,
I guess, Ty, I don't really know what to think. I mean, we've seen Cedriques, and he's kind of wild. He's really not all that technical. He's made advancements in his ground game. I imagine Abu is going to try and push the ground game. That seems like the path to victory when you fight Cedriques, because he is a, predominantly, a striker. I guess I'll ask you what you like here. I guess his TKO is plus 245. So that's, I'm leaning right there. Unless you say something to convince me otherwise, I think that's what I'm betting.
It's funny because eating Dumas had like 11 minutes of control on Cody Brundage, but he didn't land a takedown. He was just Cody Brundage was just being an idiot, pretty much. So I think Dumas wins no matter what. I don't know how. I just think they're on different paths. Like, he's coming off of a win, right? His first UFC win, so I think he's got his confidence. He was supposed to also make his debut against Abu Azatar. He's had both of his fights in the UFC have been late replacements, so I think this might be. I think he said himself, this is his debut. So I think he's going to be fired up. I think he's going to be ready. I still think he's very, very, very green, but the thing with some of these guys that are young, that are raw, he's our age. He's a month younger than me. And I think sometimes you see with these guys, you see big improvements from fight to fight, right? Especially when they finally get a win. And, has he improved or has he not? I think that's something we'll see. He is talented, like I said, but, talent can only take you so far. The only problem with Azaitar is, again, I don't know how committed he is with, all the stuff outside of the cage. And, he's much older. He's 37. He hasn't fought in a while. I just don't know what he has left, honestly. The last time we saw him, he got crumpled by Marc-Andre Barriot. So, I just think they're both on different trajectories. And for that reason, I got Dumas winning, I think, a decision. But I could see him finishing him, and, Azaitar just kind of quits. I'd be interested to see what Dumas kind of did on the regional scene. I think he had a guillotine on the Contender Series.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. And a bunch of kicks, liver kick, head kick, knockouts. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe, a sneaky play would be Dumas inside the distance, but it's plus 110. So
yeah,
I'm going to stay away. I don't like anything here. I don't, like either fighter. We'll see if Dumas has made any improvements. Also, he's a big pothead, so we'll see how he can go a fight week without smoking the devil's lettuce. So hopefully that they're not going to make an exception for him over there.
They don't play around over there. So
yeah, apparently if you spit on the ground, they'll throw you in the slammer and just start lashing the shit out of you. So that's very interesting. Hopefully Dumas can not have withdrawal effects, and hopefully he's okay from one weed smoker to the other. But that's my pick.
It's great that we're going over to places where you can get lashed for spitting on the ground. That's it's great that.
But then other things you can do, and they'll be like, oh yeah, it's fine. You can rape a woman. It's fine. There
you go. So Anshul Jubilee is fighting Mike Breeden, the ultimate get right fight. It's like the ultimate jobber in the WWE or wrestling. It's just they're going to keep sending him out there. And we were hoping that Mike Breeden would get another fight so that we could fade him. But, I mean, we don't know much about Anshul Jubilee. He did look good in that last fight, which was against a gentleman that we don't know who that is. Yeah.
Sargi.
Yeah, which he got cleaned out. And before that, he got cleaned out. He gets cleaned out all the time. But, listen, what am I supposed to tell you about Jubilee other than that pretty much, that he knocked that guy out. He's a big physical guy. Mike Breeden stinks. That's pretty much all I can really tell you about that. But, I mean, Mike Breeden's going to have the reach advantage here in this fight. And Mike Breeden, he just tends to get kind of cleaned out from time to time. I don't know. He's got 3 KO losses on his record, and 2 of them being in the UFC. So, yeah, he lost to a guy named Ivy Nixon not all that long ago. But
Hardstyle, what a terrible nickname. I don't even know what that means. Also, Ivy Dixon was recently lost to Dakota Bush, your boy.
There you go.
Dakota, I can't believe his nickname is still Harry. Oh, my God. Dakota Bush has a fight coming up this weekend. He's fighting Jordan Griffin.
Wow.
The Native Psycho, another terrible nickname, who hasn't fought since a year ago when he lost to whoever Josh Roller is. But a get-right fight for Dakota Bush. Can't believe it. Iowa Fight Series 1. Who else is on this card, you ask? I don't know. I have no idea, actually. At least they have a good main event, I guess. I feel like they have more combined fights than everybody else on the card combined. So, yeah, that's the wormhole we have fell down. The problem here is I think Mike Breeden might be better than Anshul Jubilee, but he's just so chinny. and his takedown defense isn't good. He can get back up. Natan Levy took him down like 9 times, but he got back up almost every time. And I think he did he even get. I think I was gonna say I think he got a couple takedowns of his own. He did. Also landed 100. That was a pretty good fight. It should have won fight of the night. Adelaide Bird, of course, her gave all 3 rounds to Natan Levy, which I disagreed with 100%. I think the first and third could have went to Mike Breeden. Mike Breeden, definitely the third round. I have no idea how Adelaide Bird watched that third round and said, yeah, we'll give that round to Natan Levy. He went over 6 on takedowns. He did. I don't know if he knocked him down, but he did wobble him with a big shot. But that's it. He got dominated in that third round. Mike Breeden took it to him. He was minus 120 going into round 3. Mike Breeden won the third round and still lost a unanimous decision. So just wanted to put that out there. I know Natan Levy's not amazing, but what would Natan Levy do to Anshul Jubilee? I think he would beat him fucking soundly. What would Alexander Hernandez or Terrence McKinney do to Anshul Jubilee? Right? So I guess this could be a setup fight for Jubilee because he's young, undefeated, but that Saragi fight was decent. I just don't think that guy is any good. That guy's a striker, a Muay Thai fighter, and he's a wrestler. He used a lot of wrestling and jiu-jitsu in that fight. Also, early in that fight, a lot of low kicks were landing for Saragi. So I have some defensive concerns with Jubilee in general. He's very green, just hasn't been tested, right? He doesn't have a lot of fights. He went to a split in his fight before the Saragi fight against Kyung Pyo Kim, and he got taken down 4 times. He got controlled for a little bit, so didn't get controlled for long, but he got taken down a couple times. That's kind of worrisome, Mike Breeden has been there. At the very least, he's a vet. Well, did he fight anybody else Brandon Jenkins? He knocked out Brandon, your boy.
The highlight
Jenkins, reel? The human highlight reel, that is, in LFA. So, funny enough, man, I think Mike Breeden's probably like a regional scene journeyman, right? That's probably what he is, but listen, I am going to do it, and I'm going to pick Mike Breeden to get his first UFC victory here. I got Mike Breeden inside the distance. You heard it here, folks. Plus 400. It was plus 500, so I think maybe somebody heard something. That's my pick. I just think he's going to overwhelm him. I think he's going to, he can be cracked, and he is chinny, but I think he can honestly get some takedowns of his own. And he's definitely going to stuff some, for sure. I don't think this Jubilee guy has an amazing takedown wrestling background. He just got some in a fight against a guy who also doesn't have that background. So I think Breeden, the kicks are going to be there. I think the jab, the straight right, the hooks, I think they're going to be there. I think he might be able to get him out of there quick, man. I think this is going to be an upset. Not the biggest, but one of the bigger upsets of the night. I think people are just overlooking him because, he's been finished a bunch of times and maybe he's not that good. But, is this Jubilee? It's not like Jubilee is Makhachev or something like that. We're seeing this undefeated stud prospect. I don't think he's very good. We haven't seen much, but yeah, I'm taking Mike Breeden, man.
Are you putting it on the card?
Yeah, absolutely.
Inside the distance, plus 500 here on the thing. So I cannot believe I'm writing Mike Breeden's name down on my sheet. But
I would actually change that to TKO.
Wow.
If I can get that at bigger odds, probably not. I don't think he has
Breeden TKO is plus 650.
Boom! Fire me up.
Absolutely nuclear mega whale play here on Mike Breeden TKO.
I just think it's a good chance for somebody who's, he's fought Terrence McKinney, he's fought Alexander Hernandez. Yes, those guys beat him up easily, quick, but huge step down from all of his competition to this guy. And I think this could be a spot where we see an undefeated guy take his first L. So let's do it, man.
How about Nathaniel Wood and Muhammad Naimov, the Hillman? So I imagine that the people will be in the stadium again. Last time he fought, there was like 20,000 people in the stadium watching him fight.
That was crazy.
Tajikistan, which is absolutely insane. But he's the underdog again. Nathaniel Wood is a minus 325, 350 favorite to his plus, just went away, but plus around 260, 270 underdog for Naimov. Ty, I like Naimov, man, but I don't know if this is a stay away spot. Also, by the way, I never mentioned I am staying away from that last fight. I don't know if I actually said that, but
yeah,
definitely staying away.
I hear you.
And then probably Gonna stay away on this one. I just don't trust any of these guys. I mean, honestly, I think I might bet the Hillman money line. I really do. I think I like him, man. He is a big motherfucker, man. He is a physical guy, and I don't think Nathaniel Wood.
Malarkey.
Yeah, I don't think Nathaniel Wood
right?
is that good. Yeah, that's my big thing is that I just don't think Nathaniel Wood is that good, and I think he's too small for the weight classes that he resides in. So,
well, he is coming off 3 wins, right? Charles Jourdain, Charles Rosa, Andre Fili, and so I'm kind of surprised that he's not getting like a ranked fighter in this spot. I'm very surprised he's getting a prospect who lost in the Contender Series very easily to who? That's right, Colin Anglin. Yeah. Not great. Colin Anglin, since that fight, is 0-4. Getting knocked out by Sean Woodson, getting knocked out by Melsik Bagdasaryan, losing a decision to Edwin Chavez, whoever that is, and getting knocked out by James Brown in his old age. Still getting in there, James Brown. Yeah, he's not singing anymore, but he's fighting, I guess. Oh, wow, James Brown, that's the same guy who knocked out Mike Alvarado. Oh, my God. In bare-knuckle boxing, yeah. Mike Alvarado used to be a champion boxer. I remember he fought Juan Manuel Marquez, and then now he's BKFCing it up, which is not ideal. But yeah, Colin Anglin put a wrestling clinic on Muhammad Naimov once upon a time, just a couple years ago. So that's then he lost again right after that in Titan FC to some fella, Olivier Morad, the Warrior of God. It's a good nickname. And then he beat a couple. He beat a couple cans, and then he knocked out Jamie Malarkey in just a weird fight where he was losing. Malarkey was doing such good things, and then I think he tried getting a takedown. They stood up, and he just Malarkey froze and got knocked out, right? Something like that. A very odd fight, and I am not the biggest Nathaniel Wood fan either. He got dropped by Andre Fili in his last fight. He went life and death with Casey Kenny in a fight where I thought he was going to have the advantage there. He lost. He got knocked out by John Dodson, who doesn't knock anybody out. But he is talented. He is good. I think he's kind of good all around. He's got very good low kicks, good footwork, good boxing. But the problem with him is always he's been a bit chinny. His striking defense has always been a bit lacking. You can kind of push him around, push him back. And this might be a big letdown spot here for him. I'm kind of concerned. So that's why I'm going to stay away betting-wise. But I do think he's a parlay piece. The line is what is it? Yeah, it's a bit inflated, but I think it's kind of fair. Yeah, I think he's a good parlay piece. Nothing more than that. We'll have to see if Naimov can be, the underdog king, because he's definitely powerful. He's definitely strong. He has a head kick knockout, a couple head kick. I think he has a leg kick knockout also. So he's definitely powerful and dangerous. Right, he knocked out Malarkey at 155, and Woods was at 135 most of his career. But the problem with Naimov, man, is he doesn't have a good gas tank because of how explosive he is. And he backs up, gets taken down a lot. I think he just kind of feeds right into Nathaniel Wood's fighting style. So give me Nathaniel Wood to win by decision. Maybe a sub late. I think a sub might be a sneaky play. How many subs does he have on his record? Yeah, he has 6. I wonder what that line is. Actually,
plus 475.
That's not bad. That's not a bad look. I feel like I feel like it's going to be on the feet more, and I think he's going to outstrike him and stay on the outside, or maybe even back him up. But that's not a bad line, honestly. He's got a bunch of subs, and Naimov is somebody who's controlled by Colin Anglin. So, yeah, I got Wood by a decision. Maybe I'll change that to a sub, but no bet.
No bet. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We got Victoria Dudakova. She's fighting Jin Yufrey here. This is gonna be an early. You're about 10:30. 10:45, this fight's going to go off.
I will be there no matter what.
Yeah, I will be there literally no matter what. Dudakova is a minus 500 favorite to Jin Yufrey's plus 400. Right away, no bet. Really, what could you bet here that you would write home and feel good about? Jin Yufrey.
I'll tell you.
Maybe a sub, maybe a decision, maybe something like that. I don't know.
I'll tell you. I will tell you. You want me to tell you?
Yes.
I can tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Victoria Dudakova submission.
Wow.
Easy work.
Are you being serious or are you fucking with me?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to take somebody to sub somebody who got subbed by Kay Hansen. I'm sorry. I'm just going to do it.
I like it. I'm in.
And she's just, she's very old, Jin Frey. I don't mean to say that like she's like 50, but she is almost 40, and she's been around for a while. I feel like this is like a prospect test for her. She's kind of gotten those prospect tests. Remember, she fought Gloria De Paula, who I think was coming off of like one of the better female fights on the Contender Series against Pauline Macias, and then she lost to Jin Frey. So Kay Hansen, I guess, was a prospect at the time. That chick in Ryzen.
No, she's a different kind of prospect, by the way.
Yeah, listen. I like her prospects nowadays, but still follow her on the old Instagram, if you will. I just think Jin Frey's. I just think she's cooked, man. She's lost 3 in a row, a split, an early knockout, and then a unanimous decision against Elise Reed. She's just on her. I think she might be able to get some takedowns, but she's probably going to lose position or something like that. Dudakova should probably dominate the wrestling and grappling. Sometimes she does lose position or pulls guard, or she's a pretty good scrambler, but sometimes just she'll kind of fuck herself over. She is young, so she is kind of has to fight through some of those growing pains. She's a bit green. The Estela Nunes fight, we didn't learn much from that. I remember I think I bet Estela Nunes, but in the Maria Silva fight on the Contender Series, I think she got mounted in the second round, but she was able to survive. I think her hands are getting better. The thing with her, she's just strong, very physical. And I think she's going to use that and overwhelm Jin Frey, grip her up against the cage, and then get a trip or a toss or a throw, and then just kind of go to work. And I think she's going to be able to sub her. I don't think Jin Frey has really much give anymore. I think she's on her way out. So I think she's going to find a way out of this fight. And give me Dudakova sub.
Dudakova sub plus 400. We are both on it. And
then the Maria Silva chick she fought in the Contender Series is pretty solid too. So
now we keep it moving, ladies and gentlemen. We have a Bruno Silva, Sharabutin Magomedov, who I'm sure you've all heard about or seen him on Twitter at some point. He is a wild-looking gentleman. He has 2 different colored eyes. He was in a grappling tournament. He was ready to beat the shit out of some guy. I don't know. I think he put a leg lock on him. He didn't like it. This guy, he don't fuck around, man.
Remember he grabbed that guy on the elevator who was kissing his wife, and he smacked the shit out of him. He said, "Don't kiss your wife in front of me." I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's fucking insane, by the way, but I don't know why you would be kissing your wife in front of that guy anyway. He just scares the shit out of me, but
I wouldn't be near him. That's what I wouldn't do.
His nickname's the Bullet. It's sick. We've been waiting for this guy for, a little bit now since he did get signed. It was probably early on this year when he did get signed, but Ty, do we have to throw in a bet here to just make sure that we welcome this man into the UFC properly? He's minus 280 favorite, 295 to Bruno Silva's plus 230. I don't know what we could bet here. I mean, inside the distance is not on here. So that's tough. But
it's not a thing.
It's not a thing. But what do you like here?
Shara Bullet is minus 120 inside the distance, it appears. Shara Bullet in round 1 plus 250. Let's look at Bruno Silva. I'll start with Bruno Silva. So Bruno Silva is used to fighting Russians in Russia. I know this isn't in Russia, but he has done it before. I believe he was on. Was he on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil before, like a while? Yeah, he was. Okay. Wow, that was Vanderlei and Chael Sonnen. Remember, they almost fought like 7 times on the.
I can't let you get close.
Oh my God, that was great. Bruno Silva also fought a fella. Did he? Is this who I think it is? No, okay. Felipe Dantas. I'm thinking of Eduardo Dantas. He's fought a bunch of guys in a bunch of different parts of the world under a bunch of different sets of rules. So he's a savage in the way that Shara Bullet is a savage in a different way. Bruno Silva, the problem is he's just on his way out, I think. And I did have him against Brad Tavares because I thought Brad Tavares was on his way out. I feel like Silva hasn't been the same since that Pereira fight. He did take Pereira to the distance, and it was a good performance. But then GM3 just beat him down.
Yeah,
like beat him down into submission, literally into a guillotine. And that was very, I think he pissed hot before his UFC debut against Turman. So I think maybe that's, now he's getting older and maybe that the USADA effects are catching up
anymore. Yeah,
possibly, right? He did get hurt to the body when he fought Jordan Wright, but then he cleaned his clock like a minute later. So I think there just is some. I think he has the better hands in this fight. I think Shara is much more of a kicker. I mean, he's a kickboxing champ. He fought Mike Diamond in a kickboxing match way back in the day. Yeah, Mike Diamond. I can't believe we're still calling him that. Mike Diamond. The problem is, after that Mike Diamond fight, he took some time off. Why? Well, he lost his right eye. He doesn't have two different colored eyes. He only has one eye.
I'm sorry?
His right eye is not. Yeah. His right eye is not there. It ceased to exist. A lot of people have been saying that he probably won't be able to fight in the U.S. because he's not going to clear a commission's not going to clear him. So that's something to. I guess he lost it training in Thailand. I don't know how he lost it, but it's not there. So if you find it, let us know.
Jesus.
Yeah, apparently after the Mike Diamond kickboxing match he took some time off and he had to undergo 8 surgeries to his eye that he said he felt all of it. He felt the entirety of those 8 surgeries where they were just going into the eye on multiple different angles with multiple different knives going into it to try to fix it. And the doctor said, well, the worst that could happen to your eye has happened, so go ahead and go fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's not there, so why? Yeah, why? What's the worry?
So, which is insanely just so terrifying. I also went back and watched how Michael Bisping lost his right eye to Vitor Belfort. And man, that kick landed just directly on the eye. And obviously, Vitor is on all the sauce. So just going back and watching that was crazy because he detached his retina completely. But I say all that to say Shara Bullet has very, very, very good kicks. Just all around good kick. He has a hook kick knockout. He's just all around elite kickboxing. He throws his hands more lately. He has been, I should say, when he fought that 21-5 guy who wasn't that great, but he went the distance with him. So he's been throwing his hands a lot more lately. But I think he kind of sets him up to throw kicks and clinch knees. Basically, what I'm saying is, I got Shara Bullet inside the distance. Send me home.
I'm going Shara Bullet.
Should I say by TKO? It's even money.
Yeah, the TKO. I can't find inside the distance on any of these websites. TKO is plus 110, so I would imagine inside the distance is probably minus 150, 160, something like that.
Yeah,
140, something along those lines. He's never subbed anyone, so
yeah, he's not your typical Russian, that's for sure.
No, I'm gonna go TKO with you if you take it as well. So
yeah, I'm gonna take. I think he's gonna welcome himself into the UFC. He's starting the card off. I think it's gonna be very early, so maybe some people aren't watching. I'll be watching. I'll be watching Shara Bullet. It's gonna be a tough one. Honestly, I was thinking about taking like the under 1.5 at minus 110 or parlaying under 2.5, but I'm gonna go with Shara, man. I got to ride the Shara Bullet train. So let's get it, man.
Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast. We have that was a lot of fights that we just talked about, ladies and gentlemen. We gave
a lot of fun fights.
Yeah, this is actually going to be one of those cards where you have to cherish it because from what we've experienced recently, they get they kind of they fall off from some of a night like this to a night like a fight night with Sadiq Youssef and Edson Barbosa as the main event, or we have off next week, UFC wise, but then we go Almeida and Derek Lewis in Sao Paulo. So
we can't wait. We can't wait for that one.
I will be there no matter what, as some people would say. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Shoulder Strikes MMA podcast, brought to you by the Hot Take Hotbox. My name is Matt McSweeney.
I am Ty Capone.
And as always, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you protect your eyes at all times.